Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to episode 58 of The Best Games Period. I'm your host, Jack Gardner, and with me this week are Daniel Jones, returning to us. You're a very different Dan from the Dan we had last week. And
what are you trying to say? I'm not as smart?
I'm just saying you're different.
I'm not sure Einstein is as smart, so we could say that and it wouldn't be an insult.
And as always, Jeremy Brown is with us, gracing us with his presence.
I'm just sorry I'm here. You're going to have to listen to me.
And this week we are going to be focusing on one of the great classics of the early PlayStation 3's library. We're going to take a little bit of a time travel back to the year 2007 to talk about Factor 5's undying classic about dragons and friendship. It's called Lair. It's a really heartwarming adventure.
Was it not a launch title?
No.
No?
2007.
And when did the PS3 come out?
2006. It was early 2007 game. I think March.
Okay.
And the PS3 came out in 2006.
November of 2006?
Holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was
in the launch
what they call
window.
a launch window game.
Okay.
Yes.
I can see it clearly. I've just Windexed it.
But before we dig into this cult classic of gaming, how are you guys doing? How's your week been? Daniel, you were gone last week. What were you doing?
I don't remember what I was doing last week.
You might want to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Last Wednesday, I don't remember, but I didn't make it on the show. So, I apologize. But
apology definitely not accepted if you can't even remember what you're
we
doing.
need some sort of explanation.
I must. Did I have? I had an appointment. I had my my therapy appointment. So.
Oh, okay.
So now we gotta feel bad. Ooh.
Yeah. So there you go. It's your fault.
We're the reason you need therapy.
Yeah, because that's what it was. It was because you guys did the show early last week. So
yeah.
And usually
an hour.
My appointments. Yeah, usually my appointment's an hour before we start the show.
Okay, to be fair, I did check with you like a month in
I'm
advance.
on Jack's side on this point.
And you said it was fine.
I can't cancel an appointment. I would start.
No, that's not what he said.
You could have just told me, and we could have rescheduled to a different time.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right then.
I've been good though. I've been playing a lot of Horizon. I am 36 hours into that game now.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, level 29.
Only level 29? Jeez.
I know, 36 hours in level 29. I know.
It's a slow burn.
No, I mean, it hasn't. I've just been kind of exploring a lot. Like, sometimes I'll just turn the HUD off completely, like everything. And that's just awesome. I love that that game gives you the option to completely turn every single interface HUD item completely off. So I just wander around and hunt animals and machines and do stuff, and it's a good time. I'm taking my time. I'm playing it kind of like Jeremy. I've gotten all but one cauldron. The cauldrons are like these Zelda dungeons that where you can go in and if you complete the cauldron, you get the ability to override a different group of machines throughout the world. And so I've done all but the highest level cauldron so far. And so I have alligators, like giant alligators and giant friggin' panthers and these birds. It's great. I love it.
But does it have dragons?
No, it does not have dragons. That's something that it doesn't have on near. But
Wait. Is the protagonist a 5-year-old
Lair.
child?
No.
Well, then that's probably why you can't see the dragons in the game. They're there, you just can't see them, Daniel.
I don't really.
Takes the innocence of a child.
Have you played Lair?
Yeah.
Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm good. Wait, I thought we were talking about Horizon.
We were.
I'm so
I don't know
confused
what
now.
Jack's talking about. Jack's confusing me.
Okay. I'm good. I was going to tell you guys the story, but I forgot what story I was going to tell you, so you got to remind me.
It was something to do with Verizon.
Verizon, yes. Okay, so...
Not Horizon, but...
So Dylan, my child, my firstborn, my only child, he broke his phone quite some time ago. Like, he dropped it and it shattered, right?
Oh.
And it's been working, more or less, since, like, October in that state.
Okay.
But, I don't know, a week ago or so, like, the glass started falling out and it just quit working altogether. And we have insurance.
Happens all the time, right, fellas?
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't get it up. Anyway, so we have insurance
Sometimes
on
the glass just shatters.
But I have this other phone, this, like, Samsung Galaxy Prime something or another. So I call Verizon and I ask him to just, I'm like, so can I just get a SIM card for this phone? Because that's what they usually do. Well, I decide what to do. And they're like, oh, yeah, let me check on that. So they check on it and they're like, this phone's been retired. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. Like the Samsung Galaxy Prime Duo, whatever, has been, you know, it's 2 or 3 years old. Like, it makes sense. And she's like, oh, I made a mistake. I was talking about the iPhone 6S. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, the iPhone 6S has been retired. And I'm like, you can't get a SIM card for the iPhone 6S? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, that's not really the one I wanted it for, but I'm like, that's just crazy. And
That is crazy.
that is crazy. She's like, yeah, we've retired that phone. She's like, you can buy an iPhone 6S. And I'm like, I'm aware of that. I mean, I just saw that. So then I asked her about the phone, or she checked on the phone in question, and of course that one's been retired because it's older than the iPhone 6S. And you know what? That's some bullshit. Like, literally, the newest model of iPhone is iPhone 7. The 6S is the second oldest model of iPhone. If you can't get a SIM card for that crap, I just don't even know what to say. It's beyond words.
Beyond words, beyond time.
Yeah. So now my really only option is to buy him a new phone. Or use the insurance, which is $200 for the exact same phone, when I could just upgrade his phone for $200 and get him a 7. But then I'd be like rewarding him for breaking his phone. So what do? I don't know. You tell me.
Wait, so is the $200 that would replace the phone?
Would
that be your money?
Yes. That's the price, the deductible for the insurance plan.
Oh. Wait, then what does the insurance cover?
I guess the other $500 that the phone technically costs.
But you could, on the other hand, just pay $200 for a better phone?
Yes. Therein lies my conundrum.
I would just get a better phone.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you really want to reward a kid for being a dumbass?
I mean, maybe you take the better phone
Maybe.
and give him your phone?
But really,
Does he get...
the bigger picture is how is an iPhone 6S retired? Right?
Yeah, that's
That
a
is
good
kind of
question.
weird.
I haven't a 6S,
I feel
got
like
it.
maybe that's not 100% accurate. I would go in and like talk to someone in person.
That's easier said than done where I live, Jack.
I feel
Well,
like
yeah.
they're probably doing that just
So they can sell
that
phones.
You'll buy a 7.
I don't think it's necessarily retired on like AT&T or Straight Talk or all those other places. But
Yeah.
I think it's a Verizon thing. Yeah, they would just rather I buy a new phone.
Well, so doesn't Dylan get like any kind of allowance or not allowance, but doesn't he have a job? Doesn't he have a job?
No, he doesn't have a job. His mom is dead, so he gets Social Security, but that's not much.
Have him pay you like $5 a month.
Like, dude, he just got a car. Like,
So?
It all adds up. Again, his mom did not work. Like, his Social Security is like $280 a month. It's not much.
What's he pay for the car?
Well, for the next 2 months, the car is going to cost him another $200 a month, and after that, the insurance is going to cost him $120.
And he's paying, not you?
Well, I mean, it's coming out of his Social Security at the moment.
Oh, all right.
His mom's Social Security, which comes to me because I'm the representative payee. Right? So, like, he needs to get a job, but he's involved in all these flipping goody things like school and FFA and church and whatnot.
School?
Yeah. Like,
if you're not careful, he's going to learn how to debate and do speech well enough to talk his way out of paying for it.
He might even go to state and
exactly.
place in state. I mean, good God. No.
Education is a slippery slope, my friend.
We're in a weird situation where I really want to support his extracurricular activities, even though they're not sports, because he's a flipping nerd. And, yeah. Like, I started working really, really, really young. Like, really young. And I don't want him to do that. So,
right.
There's a few different things going on there. The point is, Verizon does not even support the iPhone 6S. What the hell? It's literally the last model before the 7. How does that happen?
And the 7's the newest one, right?
Yeah, the 7's the newest.
Yes, we're talking about you.
Yeah, we're talking about it. You get a job.
They say, get a job, loser.
And I say stop being antisocial losers, but that's not happening.
Oh!
Well, shade thrown.
Your dad's the one who called you a nerd, not me.
He just called you guys a bunch of marshmallows.
Whoa!
I'll see if I ever buy him marshmallows.
Again, we're all just talking shit about Verizon here, Dylan. Nothing personal.
Right.
It got personal when he said the marshmallows.
No, I was giving them shit, not you. But seriously, how do you not support the iPhone 6S? Like, literally.
It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. I can almost understand the phone I was trying to get the SIM card for, because, it is a couple years old. Like, I get that. But, jeez.
I don't know. I maintain they probably just want to sell you a 7.
They'll gladly sell me they'll gladly sell me the exact same phone.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the insurance is going to replace.
That's why the insurance is just a complete scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's my Verizon situation.
What about you, Jack? How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Been playing through Mass Effect Andromeda. And boy, does that game have issues. All over the place. Like, literally every time I get done playing, I'm like, those were a bunch of problems. And I'm like, I think it's unfortunate that a lot of the problems that this game has that people latch onto are the visual ones. But they are, like, the most obvious.
The eyes have it.
The eyes are so weird.
Yeah.
But the reason I think it's unfortunate is because Mass Effect Andromeda fails in so many other more interesting and, frankly, shocking ways that it's pretty... it's interesting for me to play. I can't recommend it for anyone else, really. But it's interesting just on how many things the story misses out on.
Is there a Mako?
You're supposed to be. There is.
Yeah.
It's actually a much better version of the Mako.
Oh, wait. How do you get better than the original Mako?
It actually drives well.
Oh.
You can't shoot in it, though.
Oh.
You can't shoot, but you do have a speed boost.
I'm really torn at the moment.
And it can, like, kind of climb pretty well, too. Like,
yeah.
Whoa. Now, the original Mako could climb like crazy.
well, that's true, actually. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I watched Joe play it Saturday. I went over to his house. We played about 4 hours of Breath of the
You and
Wild.
your best friend, Joe?
You betcha.
Yeah.
Better than you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hate that guy.
Oh.
And
No.
we played about 4 hours of Breath of the Wild, which was fantastic and made me want to just keep playing that. And then we switched over to Mass Effect, and I just watched Tim play. And man, that was a jarring transition, because Mass Effect just... he's just so mindless. Like, he was just roaming around this planet, clearing out bases, and it was like Far Cry stuff where you're just running around doing chores without any of the fun, crazy, chaotic, interesting stuff that can happen in good Far Cry and other open world games. Like, it was just run around this planet and clear out some stuff. And, I mean, he's enjoying it, but he did say, like, he's enjoying it on, like, a mindless level. Like, it's just sit down and check off some boxes and stuff.
So it's like No Man's Sky without all the promises?
Yeah, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like No Man's Sky if you took away all the interesting alien types.
Yeah.
And possibility for there being better planets out there. And the other thing is the bugs do more than just look weird in the story. They change, like, base level interaction with certain NPCs. For example, the other day I was roaming around this planet. I found this crashed shuttle and it had an injured guy laying outside. And I talked to the guy, and he's, like, supposedly on his last breath, and he's talking and giving you his information. And then I think he was supposed to die because people are like, oh, he's too far gone. But after the conversation was done, he's still in the same pose. He's still visibly breathing. And, like, the game doesn't give you an option to, like, you like, when you're talking to him, the game has you, like, on a radio talking with someone. And you don't even say, hey, come pick this guy up or something. You're like, basically, this guy's dead, don't bother. And then you walk away. Like, you're supposed to walk away and just leave him there. And it's just kind of horrifying. Like, that's a very small bug. I think he was supposed to just, like, keel over and be in a death pose. But it didn't happen. Which changes the whole dynamic of that small interaction into just cold-heartedly leaving someone to die on an alien planet.
Right.
For no reason.
Yeah, there's been some pretty wide range of opinions on this game.
It's just the game is supposed to be focusing on exploration and first contact with new alien species, but in a sense they were too obsessed with making it more like Mass Effect, when really it should be taking, in theory at least,
so they were,
in my view of exploration, it should be taking its cues from Star Trek. Like, there's maybe 5 seconds of the game dedicated to explaining why you can just talk in English to this alien species that you've never met before, and, like, somehow everything is translating over 100%. And it's just like, well, they're from a different galaxy. Like, understanding their language and culture should be a huge part of this entire game. I mean, like, heck, even Star Trek still took an hour to figure out, like, different alien social customs. That should at least translate over into this. Instead, it's, like, not even worth talking about.
So
in the game.
You're saying the new Mass Effect game, which is based on Mass Effect, is too much like Mass Effect and not enough like Star Trek?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying that if your game is based on the premise of going to a new galaxy, that it should be new. Like, the whole point of them going to a new galaxy in the first place was to write around the ending of Mass Effect 3 and how that kind of boxed them in lore-wise. So, if you're going to a new galaxy, why are you using this, like, humanoid aliens as your, like, antagonists and as your allies? Why are you not playing up the aspect of first contact? Like the characters in the game seem surprised when they run into new aliens that It's like, oh man, we never even planned to meet new aliens. So why not? Why wouldn't you have that? You're going to a completely new galaxy.
So all the aliens that we met in Mass Effect 1 through 3, just because they happened to be in the Milky Way, weren't that way?
Well, because in Mass Effect 1 through 3, you had a history of humanity being established in this greater, galactic government. Like, it made more sense to have them all be able to communicate with each other, because you just assume, like, oh, there's been, like, 100 years previous of contact with these races. Like, humanity kind of has a grasp on what's going on. As opposed to this, like, the very first time you're meeting this new alien civilization, your translators are 100% able to translate their entirely different language and culture.
Right.
It just bugged me.
I see.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
I get it.
there's an episode of Star Trek where Picard is given the mission to establish first contact with this new alien species, and no one's been able to figure out how they talk with each other because their language just seems like gibberish. And it's the entire episode revolves around figuring out how to successfully communicate with them. And it's just that there should be a little bit of that in this game that spans...
Watch the movie Arrival. Like,
yeah, or that. Like, that can be the entire plot, or a subplot, at least. Like,
yeah.
give us something.
Or,
And instead,
read the book The Martian. You can learn how to grow potatoes on Mars. I mean, this is important stuff.
But I guess what I agree with Jack. Like, I think what he's saying is, like, this was an opportunity to do, not just to have different aliens and different alien species and stuff, but also just to do something completely different with Mass Effect that wasn't just trying to recapture the same epic awesomeness of the first trilogy. Like, they have said that, like, this is just a standalone. I don't really believe that, but, like,
Wait,
they
there were Mass
were
Effect
saying
games
that
before this?
No, like this is this game just stands on its own. It's not part of a bigger trilogy. So, like, I don't really necessarily believe that, because from all I've seen, like, they are trying to build up some big epic confrontation, and it's like, this was a chance for them to do something more along the lines of Star Trek, like, lean into that Star Trek-y kind of, like, just philosophical character studies and stuff that Mass Effect did really well, and, like, just lean into that instead of leaning the opposite way. I don't know.
yeah. I could talk about Mass Effect Andromeda for a long time. Like, I find it a very fascinating game, just not fascinating for good reasons.
But the important thing is that it came with the remaster of Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah, completely free. It was really wonderful being able to play all those games again, redone in that kind of really
on the
high
new consoles.
quality
Yeah.
style. Yeah.
Jack, are you lying to me?
I really liked how they put Mass Effect 3's combat into Mass Effect 1.
Oh, that
Really
that
made
would
sense.
actually be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I like how they carried the RPG elements of 1 over into 2 and 3. Like, they really just fleshed out that part of those games. Really the best of both worlds.
My favorite part is how this game is released exclusively for the Dreamcast too.
I especially like that the Mako is in Mass Effect 3 now. It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Well, I mean,
Yep.
as it should be.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So,
We should talk about
seriously,
Lair.
this game is not going to be like Mass Effect 1 through 3 is not going to be remastered, right, Jack?
As far as we know right now. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's like free money just sitting there, but...
And drama, damn it. Damn it. It should be. Well, there's no sense in Lair and waiting. Let's just get on with the show.
Lair in waiting?
Yeah.
Is that out of all the transitions we could have used, that was it?
I mean, you can edit it out, but that's the best I had at this moment.
I was
Layering
really
and wait.
really dragoning this on.
I mean, there's some...
Listen, guys, you can make all the puns you want, but Lair is a fantastic game.
Well, I mean, who argues otherwise?
What?
Apparently, a lot of people, which
What?
they're crazy.
Lots of
Seriously.
wrong
Seriously.
people. They
All
are
right,
dual shockingly 2 with motion controller 6-axis wrong.
So, what is Lair? Lair is a 2007 game, early PlayStation 3 game that was developed by Factor 5. Factor 5 was a really, really excellent, pretty consistent developer from the early.
They made Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, they made
that's
Rogue
all you
Squadron.
really need to know about them.
Rogue
They had a good
Squadron
pedigree.
and Rogue Leader and Rogue Leader 2 or whatever. Rebel Assault. No.
And I hear they're working on the exclusive, not yet to be named, Rockstar game for the PS3. Like, they're developing it. Rockstar is clearly the publisher, but yes.
Yes. They definitely did not go out of business in 2009. They've
No.
secretly been working on a PlayStation 3 exclusive that will be coming out sometime in 2018.
Hey, now, Rockstar has promised a PS3 exclusive for a long time.
It's called Agent.
Yes.
They're making
that's
Agent.
and that's what this studio is working on.
Okay.
Hey, you can laugh at me all you want, but
All right.
you just wait and watch.
I'm watching. I'm waiting.
So,
Keep that up for quite some time. You may have to.
So basically what I got from Lair is that it's a game where dragons exist and bathe the world in fire and now kind of reign supreme, a reign of fire, if you will. And in all of this, there is a young boy who manages to get half the heart of a dragon, and that keeps him alive. And then he grows up to become a dragon rider. And as a dragon rider, he must ride dragons to defend his kingdom against a bunch of savages who have somehow exist in the flame-blighted hellscape that is not Earth. It's like some alien world that has dinosaurs on it. It's like future Flintstones. And in all of that, there's also just kind of this...
are you getting this confused with Avatar?
No, he's totally accurate
No.
here. Just shut up, Daniel.
No. And in all of this, like, while he's doing his dragon hunting duties, and he's riding dragons and hunting dragons, he also has to raise a small dragon up from, like, an egg. And it turns out that that's, like, the one true dragon. And now, I know what you're saying. It sounds weird that in a world full of dragons that there would be one true dragon, but it's like the future king dragon, like the King Arthur of dragons. And it turns out that this kid, who is now a man, must raise this dragon up to become the dragon supreme. And really, it's not really a dragon supreme. He just has confused it. It's actually a Norwegian humpback. And, you know, it's one of those games that just keeps the twists coming. You never know really where it's going. At one point, there's an interdimensional prison. There's a bunch of, like a weirdly, like, September 11th inspired moment in the game.
Never forget.
Never forget when dragons blew up that church, which is a thing that actually happens in Lair. But as far as I know, this game doesn't have much to do with actual lairs. So that's really the one thing I hold against it.
So what Jack says is mostly accurate. Like, this game does not even talk about the layers of the earth, like the mantle, the crust, the core, all those things. It doesn't even talk about the upper layers of the earth, like the atmosphere, the ionosphere, all those things. It's like crazy. Like, they've never even watched an episode of how the universe works. Like, whatever.
It is definitely lacking some layers.
Yeah, no, totally. But,
Yeah, I mean,
but,
like, you think that it's gonna be like an onion or an ogre, but it's really just kind of surface level.
Because onions and ogres make you cry? I'm not sure where you're going with that, Daniel.
Watch Trek.
Star Trek? You're going back to Star Trek? We already moved past Star Trek.
We've done enough with the Star Trek. But, like, Jack touched on a couple of really important points. Like, you know, the whole concept of the child and the dragon and whatnot. I have no idea what he's talking about there, but I really wanted to say something. Before that, because it wouldn't shut up, I had some really good points to make, but now I forgot what those were. He was talking about...
it's probably about the weird tie-in that this game has with the Partridge Family. Do you guys remember that show?
Well, I mean, hey, we are all the monkeys. Like, everybody loves the Partridge Family. And there was, like, in the 60s, the late 60s, there was this big battle between the Partridges and the monkeys, and even the Osmonds, if you want to bring them into it. I mean, that was a thing. And
well, yeah, and I mean,
people were like team one or the other. I'm like, why can't we just love them all?
Right. They kind of really took that inter-battling fan segments and used that as an inspiration for Lair. And they kind of fused it with Pete's Dragon, which was a contemporary of the time, and that's actually why the main character of Lair is called John Partridge.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Guys, his name
There's
is
some
wrong.
also very, very subtle references to H.R. Puffin stuff in this game.
You guys are driving me nuts. His name is Ron.
No. So that you are technically correct that his name is Roan, but that actually comes from a typo that the writers made and was never actually caught afterwards.
Yeah.
So his name was originally supposed to be John, but the typo made it Ron.
Yeah.
And they just pronounced it Roan to make it sound more fantasy. But
it was a very bad translation, even though this wasn't even developed in a American speaking country. It just speaks to the value of this game.
It was translated from English into Japanese for the Japanese market, and then was accidentally translated back into English. So that,
as all things should be.
I mean, that's how I write my stuff.
And there's nothing about a baby.
I mean,
either.
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing about kids. And there's... You guys have me so confused, I'm distraught right now.
Why are you confused? What? You're so speechless right now.
Because Lair is a masterwork of aerial dogfights, and people complain about
they're dragon
the six-axis controls, and it's wonderful. It's the six-axis controls give you perfect control of what you need to be doing. Like don't even get me started on the relationship between Roan, John, whatever you call him, and the dragon.
Can we back up just a bit?
Yeah.
Have either of you played like 1942 in the arcade, or even Top Gun on the NES?
Yeah.
Lair is like that when it comes to controls. Like,
Perfect,
it's just so precise.
Yes.
Perfect. And you know exactly what you're doing the entire time.
And the music is really catchy. Like, you walk away from it humming it, kind of, you know? It's that kind of music.
I'm humming it right now.
Me too.
How does it go?
Daniel?
Do. I don't remember.
It's pretty close. It's pretty
There was
close.
That's pretty close. It
Yeah.
is.
Do. No.
No, not quite.
That was Zelda. that was up there. I think that's also Zelda.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. What's your favorite part of the game? Both of you. Like,
Who, me?
What's the part that really stands out?
My favorite part is when you get to hop off the dragon and just go down and kill the enemies one-on-one in combat.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
Like, the way the camera controls that and the motion controls when you just hop off that dragon and just jump down and kill all the things that you should just be able to kill without being on the dragon are the most amazing part of that game.
For sure. I personally really liked the parts where you had to fly around on the dragon. I mean, like, a lot of people will say that the non-dragon oriented parts of Lair are the best, just because it gives you a chance to get to know Roan away from the side of his trusty dragon steed.
Yeah.
But I'd argue that really when he's aboard his dragon, they kind of fuse together into one entity.
Yeah.
You know?
He's
It's
like
kind
a
of
sailor on the
symbiotic-
ship at that point.
Yeah, it's like a symbiotic relationship between man and dragon. In fact, I would even go so far to call them not even separate creatures. They've become one entity. They are
Yeah,
a
they
dragon
almost
man.
kind of mind meld.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome when you're doing that, and you got to break your wrist to spin around like 17,000 times to kill the people that are on the ground that you really can't jump off the dragon to kill yourself because it just won't let you. That's actually my favorite part.
Well, that's the best part because it's like it's part of the learning curve, you know. I've seen like these YouTube videos of people that are really good at playing Lair, and they're just like spinning they throw their controller up in the air and toss it around, and it spins. And like I've seen people like doing 2 controllers at once, and they're like just juggling the controllers, and you watch and the dragons are just like flying. It's amazing. It's like
It's like a ballet.
It's like the
And you're
Blue
like-
Angels.
How are those people not astrophysicists in real life? Because that's pretty much what they're doing.
It's a sight to behold.
Hey, if we
Yeah.
can put a man in space, we can make a man dragon fly like a ballerina through the sky. I mean, that's just science. And
It is.
really I hear what you're saying, Jeremy. Like, I broke several of my wrists. Like, I would break them while
Would you
playing
say like 6
Lair.
or 7 at least?
Yeah, I mean, I would
Yeah.
break them, and then I'd have to let them heal up before I could go back and
Yeah.
play more Lair,
Yeah.
and inevitably break another wrist.
Yeah.
But it was very much worthwhile to get to know this loving pair of Ron and his blood dragon steed.
Well, the great part is like you have to travel several thousand miles over the oceans at point. So, and you don't have to do those weird ass flip moves, and your wrist can heal at those times. So you got that going for you. So
For sure.
that works out pretty well. Yeah, Lair like his that iOS game with the girl that had the really big boobs that advertised it. She's married
That's
to some
like every
baseball player.
iOS game.
She's married to some baseball player, Kate something or another. I don't know if that's even her name. Anyway,
Kate
Talking
Beckinsale.
about the same game? What is going on?
and like every now and then when I'm playing an iOS game, like if I haven't bought the no ads version, this game will come up where you have to like tap and shoot enemies, and it is so precise, so perfect, and that's just like Lair because that's what you got to do. You basically just fly around and you point at enemies, and like if you happen to get lucky, you hit them. If you don't, then you just move on. There's no
It's like
repercussion for
gambling,
that.
but you don't lose money.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about this game. Like the odds in Vegas for this game being a best games period are like 3,000 to 1.
Is that good?
I think so.
Okay, good.
I think 1 to 3,000 would be bad. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think 3,000 is the curve.
But,
The
but
handicap
Daniel,
As it should be.
The
but
handicap.
Daniel, you're saying we're getting this game wrong and we're confusing
Yeah,
what
yeah.
what are we getting
what's
wrong
up with
here?
that?
Well, because you're completely forgetting, like, well, I don't even know what you were talking about with the plot. Like, it's not about that. It's about 2 countries that were divided and were at war, and you play this dude who, like, bonds with this dragon, and it's a lot like The Last Guardian. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, you develop this real bond with the dragon, but the dragon was actually like one of the enemy's dragons, but you then start to work with the enemy, and then you're like being a good guy, and like the enemies become the bad guys, and I mean become the
So
good
it's
guys,
like Avatar.
and the good
So-
guys become the bad guys. But it's like it's a beautiful allegory for love at first sight.
I don't care if it's a beautiful category. Like you skipped a whole bunch of important things. Like, like yes, there's this dragon thing, and there's like a whatever. So like here's what literally happens. So there's this girl. Her name is Daenerys, and she was born from the breath of dragons. Like her dad was the Dragon King. Blah blah blah.
As most of us are.
Yeah, and her brother happens to have lived with her. They're the last two. We'll just call them Bargarians. I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitting things out here.
Yeah.
So they're the last two Bargarians alive in this Lair world. And Daenerys is like really badass. She's awesome. She's amazing. And her brother, Rohan, some people call him Johan. Some people call him John. I don't know. People call him whatever they want. Like, he's a total ass. And like, she marries this landwalker, like, which is pretty rare in Lair. Like, there aren't many landwalkers, right?
No, they're pretty.
So,
I mean, most people are up on dragons. Why would you walk on the land? Yeah.
So she marries this landwalker named Khal Mojo, and he like totally falls in love with her, even though he's a badass. And eventually he dies because he got a tiny cut on his tit. And that's just weird, but it happens. I mean, I'm sure it totally happens in the entire world.
I mean, I'd die if I got cut on my tit. No
right?
secret.
Yeah. So, and then like, Daenerys, like, in honor of Khal Mojo, kills her brother and like, decides to ride this dragon. And that's when this whole game starts. And then she, like, rides across the entire grass sea. And then she rides across the entire real sea, and she does this weird thing with her wrists, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like non-stop, just trying to shoot enemies. Then finally she realizes she can just call her entire army on these people and just say, hey, go kill those people. And that's what she does. And then she eventually gets to this castle where these weird wizard type things, Harry Potter, read a book, like steal her dragons somehow. And she's like, what the hell just happened? So then, like, there's this dude named, like, Daniel Boromont, and he comes around, and he's like, Kalamojo, Isi, I will save you. And he does. Like, he, like, totally takes out all these weird wizard-type things. But then she finds out one of her best servants is, like, sleeping with one of the dudes from this whole thing, and she's like, whatever, and she gets back on her fucking dragon, and she's like, I don't even care. I'm just gonna break my wrists until the end of this game, and that's pretty much where the game goes.
Really, there's a weird theme of wrist breaking that carries over into the real world as you're breaking your own wrists.
Yeah,
it really makes you feel the protagonist's pain.
It feels very realistic at that point.
Yeah. Does that sound about right, Daniel?
I think I summarized it pretty well.
Yeah. I don't know what he missed.
I mean,
somebody at some point tried to poison her with some wine and other things, but yeah.
What, however you interpret it, I guess. What about the graphics? What about the? Let's switch subjects. What about the graphics and the visuals?
The graphics for this game? Are you kidding?
They're good.
What else is there to say about them?
Whew.
They are amazing. For a 2007 game, this game totally looks like it could have came out in 2002. It was awesome.
I mean, to real talk, the graphics are actually pretty okay.
The graphics are fantastic. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, 2002, Jeremy, the graphics are, like, there was not a better looking PlayStation 3 game until The Last of Us.
I mean, The Last of Us is okay, I suppose.
Yeah,
does anybody even
just
like that
barely
game?
surpasses
I mean, seriously.
Lair.
Everybody's like, Last of Us, blah, blah, blah. Like real talk. Who actually likes that game? Honestly. Like,
Jerks.
It had this whole section
yeah, just because it's realistic.
They had this opportunity where they could have taken The Last of Us in some really interesting directions with this whole group of people that were cannibals. Like, they were eating people to survive, right? You know? And then they had this guy, I think his name was David, and his whole...
No, his name is David.
Yeah, David. And so he apparently, like, more than just being a cannibal, he had to be, like completely evil and be a child rapist. And it was just like, like, why did he have to be a child rapist? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, there's no reason that game had to go there. And they really missed an opportunity to explore that character further. And man, The Last of Us sucked. But let's get back to Lair.
Here's the thing. The Last of Us was almost as good as Lair. Like, if David had just become a dragon rider instead of becoming a cannibal, like, oh my gosh, imagine that. Imagine how much better the game would have been. It would have, like, all probably been on par with Lair. Probably.
If David had been Rohan, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. And
yeah,
so
definitely.
It's like there are definitely some things that could have gone differently there, but you're right. Lair does look very good. Like the facial animations, like the mocap was way ahead of its time.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
Just crazy good.
I want to know where the hell they got those dragons for that mocap.
Right?
Like, those things have to be like sold out. Like, what studio can actually do that? That's awesome.
I saw.
I think it was Planet of the Apes studio.
No, no, guys. They went to.
I mean, I rent my dragon out to like LARP functions and like kids shows, and guys, I get like $2 an hour.
They went to the Dragon Zoo down in South America.
Oh, yes,
See,
Dragon Zoo.
I can't get a passport for South America. That's my problem.
Well, it's called the internet. There's videos of them filming with the dragons at the Dragon Zoo, and it was actually pretty tragic. Like a dragon handler was eaten, and that's why they went under. It wasn't because the game was bad. It was because they were sued by this dragon handler.
Oh, you mean Factor 5? That's
yeah,
why
Factor
they went
5.
under.
Factor 5 was sued, not the Dragon Zoo.
I was wondering about that because the sales for Lair were just incredible. So I was always kind of wondering in the back of my head, like, how did they end up like going belly up? It seems like there's more to the story, but I guess I'd never heard about that lawsuit.
Oh yeah, I watched the video
talk about the
it.
sales. So the sales for this game had like I want to say 11.9 gazillion units across all platforms. It has a Metacritic rating of like 293.7. This game is just totally amazing. I don't understand the criticisms.
Me neither. I don't get it.
Well, so where do you guys come down on Lair? Like, is this a best game period? Is it like maybe the best game period, not just a best game period?
Yeah, I was going to say, you phrase that as a best game period, I would have to challenge you on that, Jack. I might even fight you on that. This is probably the best game that has ever come out in the existence of mankind, maybe even alien kind. Like I said, it's got like a 293.7 on Metacritic. It sold 117.3 gazillion copies. It's a game that everybody, like, it's like the U2 album. You don't even know you own it, but you own it. It's just in your library.
Everybody's got a copy of
it
sitting around. Yeah.
The motion controls are so tight, so unique. And who the fuck needs wrists? Like, seriously, like, you just play this game and you break all your wrists, all 7 of them, and then you use your toes, you use your ankles, you use your kneecaps, you use whatever you need.
Yep.
And you have to get to that end where you just get to that castle and you defeat the bad entity, and then it just ends. I mean, it's almost like a fade to black type of thing. It's beautiful. It's almost like No Man's Sky or Sopranos.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sopranos. Like that's the way the ending of this game really hit me.
It's so beautiful. It's amazing. It's organic. It's just what you would not expect. It's just wow. You got to do it.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers. Long past. This game has been thoroughly spoiled for you. But in my head while I was playing it for this show, I was thinking to myself, everyone knows that Jesus of Nazareth was a carpenter, but if he was a game coder, I think he would make something like Lair. Like it was honestly just like a mind-altering spiritual experience. It transcended just pushing buttons and wiggling a 6-axis controller. It really pushed the boundaries of what I consider a game to be.
Yeah.
And
Jesus had some good wood. There's no doubt about it.
and he probably definitely had some game. Let's be real. He had some game.
He had some really hard wood with some good game.
You took that in a completely different direction than I intended. I was thinking like basketball or League of Legends or something like that. But
Wait, that's what I was thinking too. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Anyway, Daniel, where do you come down on this? Like, obviously, people understand where we're coming from, but what about you? Like, you were talking this game up pretty hard before, but I'm not 100% sure where you're gonna land on it.
I mean, I feel like I have. I mean, it's almost like I played a completely different game than you guys, aside from the fact that you loved it probably just as much as I did. I think I loved it a little bit more. It's probably, like, my top 3 games are probably this, number 1, Superman 64, number 2, and probably Ride to Hell Retribution, number 3. So it's like, it's really up there. I can't lie. Yeah, I mean, the Lair is absolutely a best game period for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
it outright.
I actually built a shrine to Lair in my closet. It's that good. Like, it deserves your adoration and respect.
Lair?
Yeah.
I hardly know her. Been waiting the whole show to make that joke.
Freeze frame credits.
I mean, you should have waited like the first 3 minutes, but still, it works.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to a very special episode 58 of the Best Games Period. You might even say it's the most special episode of Best Games Period.
Let me just say, anyone who disagrees with us are clearly fools.
Yep.
So,
Well, hold on. Let me just say, you need to control your emotions when thinking about this episode.
So, happy April, guys.
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah.
day. Good day.
April 1st. Yeah, it's a special day. All right. So, Jack, tell us about Extra Life, por favor.
On a completely serious note, Extra Life is a wonderful charity that you should all check out. It's you can find out more about it on extra-life.org. It's basically this wonderful charity where you get to play games and help kids. You can play any kind of game you want. Board game, pen and paper game, video games, outdoor sports games, any kind of game. And you do that and get pledges from friends, family, strangers, whoever, and raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. 100% of everything you raise goes directly to that hospital. When you sign up, you could choose which hospital you want to raise money for. 100% of what you raise goes directly to that hospital. It's a really great charity, so check it out. You can also find us over on the community side of things on community.extra-life.org, where you can find this very podcast, along with a bunch of other interesting articles. And while you talk about those, you can kind of connect with the rest of the Extra Life community. So you should do that.
You might even
Please.
say Extra Life is no joke.
It is no joke. But it is a lot of fun, and it does a lot of good. So check it out.
Yes, it does. And you can check out this show every Monday on iTunes, SoundCloud, Twitter at Best Games Period, Facebook, facebook.com/Best Games Period, Libsyn, our hosting site, Game Informer, and community.extra-life.org. This episode happens to be going up on Friday? Nope, Saturday. And
Or Monday?
nope, this one's coming up on Saturday? Yeah, Jack?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this episode's coming up on Saturday, which is a little bit unusual, but normally we are out on Mondays. You can also help us out if you want to. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/bestgamesperiod. We would love if you would give us a little money, even if it's just $1. We don't care. We just want to be able to cover the costs of running the podcast, which isn't a ton. So, but it's enough that we ask all of you for help, because we love to do this and we want to make it better, and we want to continue to do it for a long, long time.
I bet if we had the development budget that Lair had, this show would be off the hook.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it would be on a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we would do
sure.
whatever you wanted us to if you gave us that much money.
Well, now whatever. We have dignity.
Maybe if you really want to.
I'm not sure I have any dignity, but...
Maybe if you want to, you could go down and buy us one of those dragons from the Dragon Zoo.
Yeah, the Dragon Zoo. I mean, that's another charity that we don't talk a lot about. I think we should support the Dragon Zoo more often.
Well, I stopped supporting them after I saw that documentary.
Black Dragon.
Yeah, but documentaries can be so slighted. Like, I've seen all these documentaries on like World War II and the Nazis, and they always make the Nazis look bad. Like, you know, documentaries, man. Like, man, documentaries.
All right, Jack,
Daniel.
Jeremy.
Dano.
No, that was last week. That was last week.
Oh yeah.
Damn it. I was close.
Thank you both for joining me tonight for this very special April Fool's episode of the Best Games
Jokes
Period.
on all of you.
Oh my God, they're just figuring it out now, and they're like, "What? They were joking this whole time? Wow." All right.
Do you remember that time, Daniel? And Jack, I don't mean to not include you, but do you remember that time, Daniel, when like we just had the Indian Mojo show and you put out on Twitter that it was ending?
I put out a blog on Game Informer that it was ending.
Yeah.
We had like 20 comments being like, "Oh no, I'm sorry."
People were all like, "Oh my God." And like, I didn't even know you were doing that. And I was like, "What? The show's ending?" That was good times.
Great. That was good times.
It was
I also
good
did
times.
one once that at a family gathering. It happened to be April Fool's, and I convinced my sister-in-law to tell everybody that she was pregnant, and that did not go over well.
No kidding.
Because she wasn't pregnant.
Oh.
I don't know why she went through with it, but my mom and my aunt still give me shit about that to this day.
I mean, I don't really blame them.
No, I don't either. I was a stupid kid.
You kind of have a history, just saying.
I do. All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight for our very special episode 58 of the Best Games Period. We will see you all on the flippity dippity.
We flippity dippity because we do that so we can break our wrists.
Well, that's what they call it, yeah. I mean, that's where I
Yeah.
got the inspiration, was from Lair and playing Lair.
I mean, it makes sense. Man, that's a great game. Seriously,